Hi. I hope it's a beautiful day where you are and you'll soon be able to get out and enjoy it. My name is Scott Brightwell. Thank you for joining me. And today we'll be talking about building a scalable DevSecOps program with GitLab. There are a lot of security tools out there that are good at identifying problems, but those tools do not always create actionable insight for those problems, or the specifics of what those tools find is not messaged in a way that the problems get fixed. The goal of a good security program is not just to find as many vulnerabilities as possible, but to support an overall finding vulnerabilities program that triages them appropriately, that gets them fixed in a timely manner. To do this, a fully developed DevSecOps program needs to be put into place and implemented. Our product marketing team always uses the analogy of a race car. If you talk to someone in America who is into racing or sports cars, the first thing they will always ask is how fast can the car go, or how much horsepower does it have? And top speed and horsepower are important if you want to run a race, but as the Formula One community knows, without appropriate steering, braking, suspension, you aren't going to win many races. A lot of single point solutions treat security in the same way. They get really focused on going as deep as they can in one specific area, which is great. But if that deep dive doesn't help create actionable capabilities or insights that get more secure code to market, their value is questionable. GitLab brings to the table the supporting structures that make raw horsepower effective. We not only find vulnerabilities, but we give you the tools to build a framework or a department-wide program to remedy those issues and be sure they don't happen again. Most of the customers we talk to are tackling security from three key areas: threat awareness, expectations and guardrails policy, reporting, and assurance. In terms of threat awareness, it simply means, are the frontline developers, security teams, operations engineers aware of the risks that they are introducing or may introduce as part of their day-to-day operations? For expectations and guardrails, are your compliance and security teams setting the correct rules and policies that are then being put in place, systematized with enforceable guardrails in those day-to-day operations with developers, security teams, operations teams, all working together to get applications into production? Lastly, with reporting and assurance, you can prove from a compliance standpoint that throughout the development lifecycle, there hasn't been any accidental, malicious, or unauthorized bypassing of the policies and guardrails you put in place. Sitting at the center of these three areas is governance. Governance extends your existing operations practices to help you manage the overall security vulnerability, project dependency, compliance policies, and to reduce overall risk. Governance enables teams to identify risks by providing them a high degree of visibility into their project's dependencies, security findings, user activities. Let's dive into threat awareness and how GitLab as a platform can bring you these actionable insights. There are a wide range of threats out there that can affect your software through direct attacks or through various parts of your software supply chain. Headlines of high-profile attacks and new government mandates like national executive orders on securing software supply chain have put the need to create a strong program front and center with many executives. It's no surprise that in GitLab's recent 2000 DevSecOps survey, security was the #1 investment priority for the majority of the companies we talk to. GitLab is the leading DevSecOps platform. And I just want to take an aside and say, many of you will recognize GitLab as a source code management platform. This is where your source code repos are stored. But beyond that, GitLab is a platform for the entire DevSecOps software development lifecycle that allows you to do program and project governance and project management, certainly store the source code, creating issues and change requests to make changes to source code in the repository, We are the security scanning tool, the pipelining tool, the job automation tool, the review process. The entire software development lifecycle is encompassed in features in GitLab beyond what many people are familiar with just source code management. And so by empowering your teams to balance the speed and security of automating software delivery and securing your end-to-end software supply chain, we really speed up the ability for you to get apps securely into production. Now, AI is central to GitLab's DevSecOps platform. We have the most comprehensive AI-powered enterprise platform available. Our vision is clear. We believe that AI should be integrated throughout the software development lifecycle so that everyone can leverage it in their roles. We think that the responsible use of AI is privacy first so that our customers can protect their intellectual property. We believe that when incorporated into a single DevSecOps application like GitLab, AI will amplify the business benefits of a platform approach. Teams will have greater visibility and metrics. Developers will spend less time context switching from task to task. Security and compliance measures will be more robust, and business leaders will gain more efficiency by reducing tool sprawl. And when delivered through a single application like GitLab, we believe the AI will result in a 10x improvement in workflow efficiency. So many AI tools are already available, and everyone can contribute to developing and making changes in infrastructure in a secure way and getting it into production. So these AI-assisted capabilities are for everyone involved, not just for developers or security teams. With code suggestions, developers can write code more securely, faster. Suggested reviewers allows developer teams to have the AI suggest who can make the best review of changes based on who has done so successfully in the past or who is not overburdened with things to do already. In the security and operations space, explaining vulnerabilities, making sure that everyone understands the nature of the vulnerability and what's happening is very important. Explaining the source code to the security teams so that they understand what the developer is trying to do. And for everyone, issue summaries, GitLab help chat where you can ask questions into the platform are all very valuable features in the overall SDLC. All of the white boxes that you see are tools that GitLab has built in to help you and your organization identify vulnerabilities. There is a breadth of tools not covered by many other vendors. But at GitLab, we understand there are a lot of security tools out there that do a lot of great things. And if you already have tools you love, feel free to integrate them into the CI pipeline as well. You don't have to rip and replace wholesale the tools that you are using in order to introduce GitLab, especially into your security flow. The results of your existing tools can be incorporated into the GitLab platform for actionable insights right there in the merge request. And I'll show you what that is in a second. Use GitLab's supportive infrastructure, the platform, then to increase the breadth of your current coverage. Take advantage of GitLab's other key features like policies and reporting, enforce guardrails, and extract additional value from the existing tools in your portfolio. So what are these expectations and guardrails, these policies and compliance features that we have? Let's dive into that. There are a lot of risk mitigation capabilities in the platform, from mandatory security approvals, policies, and compliance pipelines that are immutable, that the developers cannot avoid in their process or change in their journey, bringing security teams their own actionable dashboards built just for them so that they have visibility from an overall GitLab instance or groups or specific project view. Operational container scanning, integrated security training, which is clickable through the GitLab interface, all there in order to remove risk and bring the security team level of expertise to everyone who is contributing to changes in code. So let me show you what one of those actionable insights looks like. There are a broad set of scans that are possible. The results then are shown in the context of the code the developer is requesting to merge into production. That is to say, this merge request, vulnerabilities, pipeline results, these are only the vulnerabilities introduced by the developer's specific changes in this feature branch. You can assume there are other vulnerabilities in the code base, but at GitLab, we want to present the developer with the actionable insights so they don't have to wade through kilometers of logs to find the vulnerabilities that they introduced. In addition, each vulnerability is actionable. With a click, the developer can see the rich details of the nature of the vulnerability, guidance on how to remediate it. If vulnerabilities persist, you can see at the bottom that the developer cannot merge this into production. They must wait on the mandatory approvals that have been triggered by the introduction of questionable code into the code base. As an example of one of the AI features of GitLab, explain this vulnerability is a capability we have. Having clicked on one of these vulnerabilities, you can then click to have the AI explain what it is. And in addition to the basic background information about the vulnerability or the issue that was discovered, insights are presented that are derived from the developer's own code base. It's a lot of rich detail about what the vulnerability might mean, and then how to fix it. And finally, in this approval process, we don't want to slow down the path to production. In many environments, the review process is sort of an all or nothing approach. You get one gate for all work and everything comes to a stop if it's not approved. So for better efficiency, methods such as failing a pipeline because a job found vulnerabilities are used to prevent something moving forward. You can have different policies on a developer branch earlier on in the process. Many tools introduce false positive and vulnerabilities that existed in the existing code base, but were not the developer's responsibility. So with scanners enforced on the merge request and the results being pushed back to the merge request, it enables the ability to streamline the approval process. If the scanner finds whatever policy you set in place, an approver from the security group would be required to approve the change before moving forward. This is very early in the process. The same with license scanning and the compliance team. We have also extended this into code coverage as well to make sure that tests are covering a large percentage of code to avoid technical debt and make sure that code coverage is high throughout the entire life cycle of your application. And lastly, for external change management approvals, the Status Checks API allows you to provide visibility to the status of any checks that are external to the system. All of this contributes to improved cross-team communications. We really want a developer team to work with the security team, work with a compliance team, work with an operations team to really enable them to produce high quality code, get immediate feedback, and bring these other teams to the attention sort of in the field of view of the developer as they're making the changes. So it's very powerful, and we could have whole sessions on just the technical capabilities of GitLab and the speed that we introduce. But let's move on for the sake of time to assurance and reporting. We can't do all of these things without making sure that we have immutable logs and compliance capabilities that report the value that we're producing here. And so policy management can be set, compliance pipelines can be created that are immutable, the log events within the system, who changed what permissions were changed for audit management purposes are all exportable and immutable. We can do license compliance check, code quality standards, etc., and really enforce and show who has the authority to make changes in the code. And we can track via the commits to the changes in the code who has actually made changes. And so we can prove and show the provenance of your entire code base as changes are made. This is very important not only for your internal code, but also code that you get from others, the dependencies you use, the containers you use from external sources. And so attesting to the secure software supply chain, exporting your bill of material, your SBOM, managing threat vectors that are coming in from the outside through dependency scanning, vulnerability education, like I showed you on the AI tool, and then adherence to compliance. We ourselves as a platform are very proactive in adhering to compliance as a platform. And then we can deliver those attestation, those reports to you so that you can be compliant for your needs. And finally, governance. Every program needs the executive level governance to make sure that the program is in place and working smoothly. And so we provide the security teams themselves vulnerability reporting at, again, I said the instance level, down at a group of projects that represent a business unit, or perhaps down at an individual project. So you can see exactly what developers are introducing in terms of vulnerabilities and things like that as they're working. And you can have legitimate reasons for making exceptions when the need be. System-wide visibility to the performance of the entire DevSecOps flow. So we report on all of the DORA metrics to show how fast changes are getting into production. And we can report on vulnerabilities and the reduction of vulnerabilities while we are improving the speed of code into production. So it is a very beneficial process to go through to create these agile approaches to security. We can show adoption scores for teams that are actually adopting the features that you're providing in the program for developers or security professionals or operations features. We can see which projects or which groups are actually adopting the benefits of this kind of an approach. So creating a program that covers threat awareness, expectations, guardrails, and policy setting, and actually doing something about the threats that are being identified, making sure that happens, and making sure that these vulnerabilities do not make it into production builds trust. We can do so at speed. Assurance and reporting show how we are compliant in everything that we do, from the depth and breadth of our coverage to the enforcement of it. And then program governance, you're teaching your teams how to adopt, how to track, what are the benefits of adopting a more secure approach in a scalable DevSecOps program. I hope this was interesting, at least. It gives you a good idea of what the potentials are here in a DevSecOps program, in what is available as GitLab as a platform. Have a great day, and I hope you're well.